Mother Teresa, the nun who spent decades caring for the destitute and dying of Calcutta, is to be made a saint. Pope Francis signed off on a purported miracle that was necessary to elevate the world's best-known nun to sainthood. Mother Teresa will become a saint in the Vatican Year of Mercy after being recognized by the Pope for her second miracle, when she cured a Brazilian man, some 11 years after her death, who was suffering from multiple brain tumors. Well, there's been a little bit of criticism over this second miracle. It happened in 2008, 11 years after her death. A 35-year-old man from Brazil, he had this viral brain infection and he was in a coma. Just before his surgery, his wife prays to the late Mother Teresa, and miraculously he wakes up from his coma and he's declared to be entirely healthy.
Right, so the faith healing aspect of the Catholic Church is still alive and well. That's good to know. Do we know if there's like a committee that judges these miracles to make sure they're authentic, or are they just checked off in a box of, oh yes, that
Well, I think Pope Francis has a lot to say about this, and we know that he's an avid fan of hers. Also was Pope John Paul II, who signed off on her first miracle, also slightly controversial. Apparently she miraculously cured this Indian woman suffering from an abdominal tumor, but even at this time many people thought that it was just due to medicine that this woman healed.
That's true. I mean, look, she has a lot of fans as well as critics. You know, John Paul II set her up for sainthood. You know, dying in 1997, it takes a long time for somebody to be recognized. And the fact that these miracles are happening posthumously, that, you know, perhaps people are pushing for her sainthood, whether they know it or not. You know, as I understand it, she wasn't in the room. Obviously, she's been dead for some time when one of these happened. So
yes, 11 years, in fact, she had been dead for. So there are some critics, though, of Mother Teresa. Just to look at a few of those, the late Christopher Hitchens, British author, he's spoken very poorly of Mother Teresa in the past. He's called her a lying, thieving, fanatical Albanian dwarf. He's also accused her of being a political opportunist, striking friendships with dictators and corrupt financiers in exchange for donations. She's also been heavily criticized for her views on opposing birth control and abortion, given the fact that she was working in India for many, many years. Many people said that it was irresponsible for her to oppose birth control in this way, given the overpopulation problems that India has. Pope John Paul II, though, he was a big fan of hers, and he paid tribute to her in a visit to the capital of Albania. He joked about how strong she was. He said, "I remember thinking I'm glad she wasn't my mother superior because she was so tough."
You know, Hitchens might be right. He's calling her fanatical and a fundamentalist, but you know, what's wrong with that? Most people who are affiliated with religious organizations are. I want to point out in her defense, she did take a vow of poverty, so I don't think she was spending any of the money that she was raising on one note. It doesn't even look like she, you know, I'm very minimalistic, to say the least.
Well, the Vatican described her life, this was just on Friday, as a metaphor for selfless devotion and holiness. Whether you're a critic or not, many people will almost equate calling someone Mother Teresa with calling them a saint anyway. So she will indeed be made into a saint in September of 2016.